Yay. Oh, we're being recorded. Wonderful. So thank you everyone. If you've not popped your where you're calling in from, and also just to be aware, I know Steph let me know the chat's not actually being recorded, so that's going to be private, just for us. And what else do I need? We will be using the chat quite a bit, so because how weird is this to have, you know, I'm going to be talking about connection actually and moving on, and here I am not even to see you, so we're using the chat as a form of connection. Okay, so so welcome everyone. I'm gonna just move on. I think are we still being recorded? I think so. Okay, so I'm just going to move this chat out of the way so I can see you, but yeah, there we go. So is it possible to move forward? I mean, that's what we're going to be talking about. And how is it possible to move forward? You know, I hear so many people, in social media and people I work with is like, we're stuck. You know, we're stuck and we don't know how to move forward. And what does that even look like? And all that place of like, oh, we have to move forward. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. Excuse me, I'm getting used to the tech. Why isn't this? There we go. So here is what to expect. So we're going to be running for 90 minutes. So please go and grab your art materials. And today we're going to be using paper, pens, color pens, any other color material that you want to work with. So if you want to work with paints, we're just going to be doing a quick drawing. So whatever you feel like, just, or even pencil, it really doesn't matter. It really just bring in whatever you want to. We're going to be doing a lot of writing today as well, so excited to be doing that. I'm going to be giving a quick intro in who I am and what I do. We'll be talking about moving forwards and what can stop us. We will explore deep connection and loneliness. And this is so important and close to my heart at the moment, because it's something that I really suffered with, that isolation and loneliness. And I know so many people, so many of us can suffer from that disconnection from the world and loneliness. And one of the things I was listening to this week is about how we can go into speechify, you know, that place of that we can give speeches, or people, we hear speeches from others, you know, how to move forward and blah, 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 blah. And it's so unhelpful because it's so that we don't, it's not a way of connection. There is no connection when we're just lecturing and speaking to someone. So my intention is to get as much grounded and connecting to you from all the way around the world, so there is some form of connection. We will do a creative exercise, and I'm so excited to be talking to you about this and for us to do this. And finally, I'll be giving away a little gift and telling you how you can contact me and what's next in Empowered Childlessness. Please take care of yourself in this workshop. I'm hoping that nothing's going to be triggering, but we're talking about that connection. We're talking about moving forward. So it can, you know, it can trigger things. So just take care, go into breath. Even I love that, you know, putting hand onto chest, placing feet on the floor, and just connecting with, you know, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling triggered, I'm feeling, and yeah, come back to my voice when you're ready. So hi, so my name is Helen Siegel. I'm a registered member of the British Association of Counsellors and Psychotherapists, a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? I'm a therapeutic counsellor and the founder of Empowered Childlessness and Grieve with Gusto. I'm also an animal lover, but we don't have any cats at the moment, but I love the ones that I go and pet around my park and around in my community. I love to move. I love doing yoga and walking. I love creativity, just pottering around. I love my work, and that's a huge part of my moving forwards bit. Yeah, I'm very passionate about that. I am I'm a bit of a TV and film addict, and I love to learn, and I'm adventurous at heart as well. In 2016, I resigned myself to being childless for the rest of my life, and it was painful, that space. I met my partner at 41. We went through the tests and, tried naturally, and then went through 2 IVF cycles. At the end of this process, I felt completely and utterly emotionally exhausted and broken. My heart was shattered, and I would say I was completely grief-stricken. At the time, I was a teacher, and I'd been a teacher for just about 18 years, working in schools. And I had been using the arts and creativity therapeutically pretty much for 25 years. And I had always found it powerful and helpful to connect to myself and help me connect to others. And there's a whole, I've not put it on here, but there's a whole story about myself on my website, which you can have a look at, where really I would say my process started when I wasn't able to talk at a very young age. I was encouraged to create a workshop teaching women how to support themselves through the arts and how the arts are healing. And then Grieve with Gusto was born in love and kindness and started, and then Empowered Childless in 2019 was born with online workshops and programs. Today, I continue to my work, to my bliss, to support women to embrace their grief and to honor their feelings and slowly start to embrace their life, building strength and engaging in their vitality. And I've seen it, and I feel very blessed to be able to do that work. And I suppose this is teaching, but I have retrained, and I still work with children, but now as a counsellor and in private practice. So what are we moving on from? So here's the first little exercise, and it's sort of adapted from the dual grief model by Shubra and Shoot. So you can have a look. I love the dual grief model. So grab yourself your pen and paper and pop in like these 2 circles. They're not circles, are they? They're little ovals, but you can create circles. And what are you moving on from? What are we moving from? Right? Like for me, I was moving from my dreams, my hopes, the possibility of like even more love in my life, my vision and my fantasy, my desires, my old life. And for me, it was all about connection, like a real intense connection with somebody, my own flesh and blood. So this is where things can get triggered, with some sadness and loss. But pop in, and if you're ready, can you, it'll be lovely to hear, like, pop in the chat. What are you moving from? Like, this is about moving forward, right? So what are we moving from? I'd love to know. That's some of my things. Yeah. So yes, Kathy, while people do this little exercise, isn't it? Yeah, it's easy said than done, right? This is absolutely, and we hear that all the time, just move on, just move on. But I'm hoping that this process is not about just that. And I'm hoping to sort of talk about the complexity of it. Yeah, I've had similar things, so. Yeah, okay, I love it. Social stigmas, wonderful. What else are you moving on from? Yeah, thank you. Expectations, absolutely. So, yeah. Just a couple of more seconds to do that little exercise and popping into the chat. What are you moving on from? Yeah, fitting in. Yeah. And none of these are easy to move on from. Absolutely. Loss of identity, being invisible. Yeah. Trying to have a perfect life. Yes. So know that. So know that. Okay. So where do we want all the firsts? Oh, yes. Steph, lovely. Living in limbo, moving on from expectations and emptiness. Absolutely. Hey, welcome, Cindy. I'm glad you got in. Okay, so where do we want to move to? So let's have a look at that. So pop into your next oval. Where do you want to move to? And for me, this was hard. And if you're finding this hard, right, please just know that absolutely, like, it would make sense that you'd find it hard. So this is where I was. There was no new, right? It was just a blank, I don't know what I'm moving on. I just feel a whole lot of pain. It's intense and I can't find that. And that's such that's where we can be. That's exactly a perfect place to be, and the awareness that little oval of new is actually nothing's actually written there yet. But if you're in a place where you know where you want to move to, or where you're some other fantasies, or even like that place of, okay, I need to go to work, I need something else. I want something else in my life. I don't quite know what it is. So just write something lovely, contentment, new alternatives. Brilliant. Okay. Certainty. Yeah. Feeling, passion, again, being able to laugh. Yeah, absolutely. And that has something. And for me, it was also about secure. Some of my shame is insecurity, right? So courage. Oh, I love that. Managing. So for me, it was quite similar. Connections, new work, happiness, passion, adventures, love, a new type of family. And at the beginning, I couldn't have written any of that. So I just need you to, know that it's hard. Right. Oh, thank you everyone for sharing based on how things feel. Yeah. Based on how things feel. Not quite sure, Claire, what you mean. Peace, security, making decisions. Absolutely, as I go along. So then how do we get, sometimes even just to, how do we get from where we were to where we want to be? We're not quite knowing where we want to move forward to, because that's becoming difficult, because we're, there's loss and grief and pain and expectation. It's like, it's all there. So we need to, it's like this little bridge. I love this. It's like this little bridge that we need to draw. We need to find like that place of, I want to say, I'm sure Steph's going to laugh at me. Bridgeness. It's my new word. We need to create a bridgeness. And for me, that connected. For me, that was connection. deep connection. I needed to build some deep connection. That bridge represented deep connection. I needed to bring in love and compassion and kindness, space, okay, and acceptance. So much acceptance of the loss, but acceptance of where I was, which is like a whole journey all on its own and part of this process. Being honest and authentic. And then taking risks and believing and hoping and add your own, you know, what is, and you might not know. And I suppose this is some of the things I'm giving, right? What's helped me to get to the other side. And I want to really be clear, this does not mean that I lose that sense of that loss of a family disappears. I still feel some, you know, loss and connection. I was talking to my partner today about it, but it doesn't overwhelm. So it's like moving forward in the grief and creating that bridge. So let's have a look at some of your, I'd love to, accepting we can live with grief and be happy. Yeah, exactly. Seeking worth, no longer fulfilling others' expectations. Absolutely. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, Seth, I'm just looking at your little question. Okay. So moving forward from that. So what we do, and this is part of the dual process, which I love, is that during this process, as we're going along our lives, is that we go from left to right, so from lost to new, to lost to new, to lost, and it's like we're the yellow and we're going from one place to another. And that's just part of that process, that we go along the bridge, back and forwards, back and forwards, back and forwards, back and forwards. We get to know a little bit, we go out into the world, we come back, we create some little connection, we come back, we connect some little connection into the new, and then we come back to the old to do some little processing of the loss, and then we go back and we go, you know, so we're going back and forwards. So this is how one of my experiences of moving forward. So what can stop us? And I remember one of the first posts that I put in into a community 7 years ago. And I said, I feel like I've just gone through trauma. My 2 IVF rounds and, you know, numerous years of trying to get pregnant. I feel I've had a little trauma, and that made a lot of sense to me. And with that trauma, I felt really overwhelmed. So the overwhelm, it's part of the process, I think, but it's also, it can stop us because it's just too much. Like for me, I just like, oh my God, I can't process all of this. Bam, I would shut down. So, and that's part of our brain. We can get really overwhelmed, bam, 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 overwhelmed, and then it's like we flop, and then we get back into regulation, and then it's like, oh, bam, we get like we drop, and we just, I say we, that's how it was for me. I felt overwhelmed and then flopped. So feelings, like the feelings weren't being processed. It was just getting overwhelmed into this cycle, overwhelmed, drop, overwhelmed. So there would be some process, but it wasn't actually, I wasn't feeling safe. So I don't know if that's how you're feeling, not quite feeling safe. And part of moving forward is like learning to feel safe, to have those feelings of sadness, even to have some overwhelm, but just to, you know, allow ourselves to pause a little bit so we don't flop. So limiting beliefs, right? And this is one of Steph's work, you know, we are worthy. This is all about just becoming accepting and worthy of ourselves as we are, whether we and I suppose everyone here relates it to childlessness or being childless, whether you identify as a childless or child-free, it's like we are worthy as women and men. I have some men in my community, just to be worthy as us. Okay, so the resistance of, you know, shame, that we can be so like belittling of ourselves and then get really disconnected and lonely. That's what's amazing about Steph doing this work and, you know, other communities, just so we bring people together, because it's about deep connection and understanding. And then also our past, you know, we have trauma in our past. I've got trauma in my past. It actually came up, so the grief was more difficult, more challenging to actually work through. I need, you know, sometimes we just need support and understanding that that's okay. So here is, okay, might be some tricky, and I was thinking, shall I put this in? But actually it was really powerful to do this exercise. And my gut feeling, I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm right. That many of us feel this in the community, this experience of disconnection. So how would it be to live in the world without deep connection to others? And I want you to take a moment and describe how that experience feels. I'm just going to give you a minute, 2 minutes, just to take a moment and write down some words, how it may feel, the experience of it, of disconnection. And when you're ready, please feel free to just pop it into the chat box and have a look at some of what others are writing. Yeah. Yeah, so lost, lonely, isolated, left behind. Yeah, not alive. So powerful, isn't it? Treated unfairly, empty and sad. Absolutely. Yeah, Sarah, how lovely to see you. It's like looking in the shop window and not being able to go in and buy anything. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So just a couple more seconds. And if you'd like to share how you have described how that experience feels. Yeah, behind the glass wall, helpless and senseless, misunderstood, walking down road and abrupt end. Okay, absolutely. And I've got some, yeah, I wrote awful, sadness, upset, sense of panic, shut down, even a sense of insanity, you know, like that when no one's talking, in that place of not being understood. I felt at times like I was going insane, anxious, defeated, and it was really painful. Yeah, exactly. Self-blame, that we can blame ourselves. I remember feeling like an accessory, just hanging around. Yeah, like we don't have that identity. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, oh, Jamie, thank you. Ghost, absolutely. Yeah. So really, you know, that art, oops, excuse me, art can be, excuse me, I'm just gonna move that. Art can help. Art can help connect, and you know, I'm thinking about that bridge now. You know, the bridge to connection, the bridge to connection to ourselves and also to others. Okay. And you know, it can be art from other people. You know, we can search for art online, but what's also really, really empowering, and the power is in the making, is our own creativity. And we don't, what's wonderful, we don't need to be great artists. The therapeutic arts and the healing arts is not about doing our best art. It's about communicating from inside. And sometimes, you know, my experience is I didn't even know what was going on inside. So I just had to put a pen to the paper. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. So I know some of you have had experiences with art and the therapeutic arts, and some haven't. So this will be your first time connecting to that. One of the other resistances that can stop us moving forward, you know, is that inner critic, you know, that undermining ourselves. And that can, you know, all of this can come from the outside, as we were, you know, when we were really little. And that place of being childless, and that there's something wrong, you know. So we have to do that process of you know, the process of healing and knowing that there is nothing wrong with us. You know, we are perfect just as we are. But that place of perfectionism, that we have to be perfect, comparing, despairing, molding to others, approval, gosh, it's just exhausting me even reading this list, really. And our need for certainty and ease. And you know, one of the things that I've had to, and I don't even know if I'm actually there yet, let me be honest, you know, the future, that fear of the future, like you know, when I put in my now box, there's quite a lot of uncertainty. And the reality is probably everyone has uncertainty for the future, which is looking at it, you know, slightly differently. Yeah, we're always happy for someone else with every birth. Yeah, that expectation, right? We have to be happy. And that place where, you know, like, yes, can we be happy? Can we have that dual polarity of like, can we be happy for someone, but also jealous and really freaking upset? You know, like I had both. So I don't know, like that, it's yeah, working with, trying to sit with the polarity, and but also having someone to have deep connection to realize that actually it's okay to feel upset and grief at the beginning, and actually, you know, wherever we are. So where do we start, women? Where do we start? So for me, that bridge included a simple line to connect to myself and my creativity. And we don't always, you know, I don't have to know what I'm drawing to make that connection. So you don't have to be artists. This, you know, when we're going into, in the moment, into an exercise, we don't have to think we have to do the best. You know, that's just part of the limiting beliefs of needing to be perfect. So we have to let go of being perfect. And I'll tell you a little story at the end. It's to do with my drawing, connecting to this little exercise. But we really don't. Okay, we don't have to be perfect. So, okay. I feel like I need to have a little break. Are there any questions? I feel like I need to ask, is there any question? I know there's one question in the Q&A. Are there any other questions or any other thoughts before we get started? Okay, before we get started. So I've got one question here. Hearing moving forward is easier said than done. What do we say when people say, ironically, wish I had time to do, I wish I had time to do such dumb artsy things. Yes, seriously, someone told me this. Yeah. Oh, Kathy, I really get it. Yeah, that whole, the complaint with, oh, I'm so busy. Yeah, we've all got our stuff, and so have they, so have we. Yeah, so do we. And it's just owning our stuff and then allowing them to have their, that they're in crisis a lot of the time. So their parents are in crisis a lot of the time. They're in uncertainty and pain and yeah, not thinking about the rest of the world. How would you recommend doing this on your own? Yeah, the art, absolutely. So Claire, I've actually written, and this is a free gift for everyone, and I'll pop it in. I've written a little manual to get started, and yeah, I'll talk about what's next. So any question? Yes, living and working in a foreign country, definitely are you proving yourself more? Yeah. Oh, Steph can answer this. I'm sure Steph can answer this. So yes, I know, like overcompensating, like we have to work more. Does anyone else feel that? We have to have more meaning in our lives. I've had that as well. I have to really, I've got all this time, so I have to really not like not veg out and watch TV. I can't do it. It's like I do, but I feel like I can't. So yeah, thank you, Jane. I know, vegging out is what parents would love to do. Yeah, I hear the complaint from my family members as well. And it's owning our lives and allowing that just to be, I think, not to have it as a despair and compare and getting caught up in their stuff as well. So it's natural for us to want to. I know it is. And, I've not even mentioned what the world, what England, there's a lot going on at the moment. So a lot, yeah, it's okay. It's okay to rest. So I think I have. So let's move forward. I'm hoping, does everyone have a pen, piece of paper, either like a journal? So as long as you have some paper to draw on and then to have some paper to write on. So are you ready? Are you ready? I'm very excited to do this. It's also exciting. I know. Okay. So I want you in this exercise to be aware of any judging thoughts or inner critic. I want you to really follow my instructions and my voice. Take breathing. I have to notice my own advice. Notice your breath and body sensations. I will be giving you some time to write and, excuse me, I'm just going to, and journal. Use the chat to share your writing and connect if you want to. You don't have to do that. And if you have any questions, please add them into the Q&A. I will try and keep my eye on the Q&A and yeah, so any questions about that? So before we start, do you have any questions? Okay, so I take that as you're ready. So this little exercise, I'm so excited to be bringing you, and slightly different. So those, I know there's those in here that have worked with me before, so they'll find this slightly different. I've adapted it for our community and this webinar. It's from Violet Oaklander. So she's, she's passed some time ago, who was a play therapist and psychotherapist. She worked in Gestalt theory in that way. She was trained through Gestalt. She also found it from another source, actually. So it is simple yet very profound, and I hope it creates a tool for your bridge. Trying to switch to my computer. Okay. But this process, about this process, what you will be doing. So you're going to be creating a little rose bush. And I was very, I was in a conversation with myself and actually a friend of mine. Do I show you my work? Do I not show you my work? Because part of my working with people is actually really connecting to themselves, really connecting to like their drawing rather than copying and trying to draw and make it look like someone else's drawing. So that's really, really important. But I'm happy for you to be inspired by my little drawing. It's down, I think it's on the right. It's on my right. So whether it's on your left, but it's on my right. But I really want you to connect to your drawing. I can't express that really any more passionately. It's so incredibly important to trust our own little our own little scruffy, messy drawings and allowing them to be whatever they are. So we're going to get started. I keep saying we're going to get started. So let's begin. Jane's connected. I love that. And if you're not and you're sitting there worried, no, that's okay. Because I would say 20 years ago, I would be in a completely same place going, oh my gosh. But I would say if you are in that place, just really listen to my voice, listen to the words, and know your drawing's going to be really perfectly imperfect or imperfectly perfect to what you need to know now. It will have everything that you need. I completely trust that. So get comfortable, and I want you to get as relaxed as you can. I want you to go inside. I'm going to be reading from my little notes. So I want you to go inside and see how you're feeling in there. See how your head feels. See how your shoulders feel. Your arms, your stomach, your chest, and your back. And I want you to even wiggle your toes, because sometimes we forget that we go all the way down to our toes. I want you to take a deep breath in and then hold it and let it out. And in your own time, do that a couple more times. I'm going to make a sound. And I want you to listen to the sound as long as you can. Okay, so I'd like you to imagine that you are a rose bush or any flower bush that we are going to be calling a rose bush. You can be tall or short, full or scrawny. Do you have thorns? Do you have flowers? And if so, what color are they? Do you have roots? And if so, where are they? Where are you? You can be anywhere. You can be on the moon. You can be middle of the ocean, in a yard, anywhere. And are there any bushes or trees near you? Are there any animals or birds or a fence? I'd also like you to add your loss and grief in this picture, in your mind's eye right now. Where is it? Is it on the rose bush or somewhere else in the picture? Is it big or small? Is it wide or thick or thin? Is it light or dark? Is it straight or wiggly? What color is it? And finally, I want you to think about who takes care of you. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you just to drop your chin to your chest. Just wiggle your toes and your fingers. Flutter your eyelids open. And I want you to draw your rose bush and whatever else is in your pictures, in your mind's picture. And I'm going to give you about, I would say 4 minutes. And when you're done, can you let me know in the chat that you've done drawing? Okay. Remember, this doesn't have to be your best drawing or your most perfect drawing, and no one actually needs to see this drawing. So we're not writing anything. Sorry, Claire, we're not writing anything. We're drawing what was our rose bush. So we're drawing the, your rose bush. What was in your mind's eye, and if you had any flowers, what type of flower, like colors, and in the environment your rose bush was. So hopefully that will that's clear. If you have any other questions, just pop them in the chat box. Okay, so how are you all getting on? Have you done your little rose bushes? Steph, how do you get on? Perfect. So I'm hoping everyone else, how are you getting on? Or just adding some color. Perfect. So maybe 1 more minute. Brilliant. Thank you, Julie. How else are you doing? How else are you doing? How are you all doing? Okay. Thank you, Sarah. I love it. Love it, Claire. I have this image of all of you on my screen, all 21 of you. Actually, there's 20 of you, and all of you who are watching this video recorded. I've all got you in my imagination, drawing your rose bushes. Okay. So we're gonna, just thinking of time actually, which is horrible thinking of time, but are you done? Somehow lost my, oh, here we go. I don't know. Sorry, everyone. There we go. Great. I don't want to leave anyone behind. So do you need a little bit more time? Okay, fab. So we're gonna, brilliant. Thank you guys for communicating. All right, so this is what we're going to do. I want you to look at your picture, and in your journal or on your another piece of paper, I want you to write about what you've drawn. Okay, so for example, you know, here's my drawing that I did, and you know, I wrote about very quickly in a couple of sentences what I've seen, what I can see. Okay, so just yeah, just write, and you can chat, you can add what you see in your in the chat, what you see as well, and share that. I think that's what I meant, share that with others. So what do you see? So for me, it was, I see a rose bush with pink roses. I saw the sun, a cloud, a person, and a watering can. And the rose bush is on a hill with roots. So very, very simple. And then if you can write done in the chat box. And if you're doing the recording, just press pause until you're ready to move on. I think that's the benefits, yeah, of doing it on the recording. And there's pros and cons. Oh, I love it. Claire, thank you for sharing. A colourful bush of flowers surrounded by secluded garden, green with bushes and trees. The grey roots beneath shatter like glass or ice, spill upwards to create hills. Bouncing figure appeared on top of the bush. Wonderful. Okay. So now what I want you to do, you can either, now we're going to write from the rose bush or a part of the rose bush, like you're actually the rose bush. So I'm going to model this. We're going to start. So I've got my little, where is it? Here you go. Got all my writing here. So we're going to do this from I am the, so you're going to write I am, and you can choose either a part of your rose bush or the whole rose bush. So I wrote, I am the rose bush, loud and proud. I've bright pink roses on me, and I'm happy about that, though they are a bit heavy. Okay, so I want you to write that, I am the, and then finish off the sentence. And you can pop it into the chat. Write it down first, because we are going to be reading all of this at the end. So write it down first, and then you can pop a little bit into the chat and let me know. I think I'm going to be pacing a little bit, so maybe one or two, and you can always go back because there'll be a recording as well. Thanks, Cindy, for sharing. I am the rosebush, stem and leaves. Okay, and then go into speaking from them. I am the rosebush, stem and leaves, and then make a sentence after that. Or you can even split it down. I am the stem, and finish that question. Okay. Now I'd like you to write from another part of the rosebush. For example, you could be the roses, the thorns, the stems, the roots, etc. So say I am. So for me, I wrote, I am the thorns. I'm here for protection. People don't like me, but there are not many of me. I am a big and pokey, so they can be seen, but I do go inside when I feel safe. I'm important. So I want you to start writing from each part of your rose bush. Oh, excuse me. Until you've written from all of your parts of the rose bush. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing. I am a dead twig, live stems with beautiful roses, many of them with the beauty of nature surrounding me. Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Okay. And then add them into the chat when you are ready. So thanks, Claire. So I said, we are going to write from each part, giving that little part, we're going to sort of take that little, each part and write like we are that part. I hope that makes sense. So for example, I wrote, I am the stems. I'm strong. I keep everything up. The roses need me to pump them full of nourishment. It's not all about being big and pretty. And the last prompt was just to go through each part saying I am the, and giving that part a chance to speak. Oh, sorry, Alexandra. I'll try and slow down a little bit, but the prompts are on the screen, and don't feel like you have to keep up. Go at your pace. Yeah, go. I really want you to go at your pace. And thank you for sharing, because I know it's awful when presentations can go a little bit faster than what we're needing and wanting to. So hopefully this time will give you time just to take a breath and have a look at your image, pick apart and write from I am the, roses, or I am the thorns, or I am the stems, I am the roots. Okay. Just going to give a couple more minutes. Thank you, Kathy, for sharing. Okay, when you're done, just let me know in the chat when you've gone through each part of your rose bush. Ah, fabulous. Okay. Now I want you to notice where the grief and the loss is. Is it on the rose bush or somewhere else in the picture? Now, can you write from that grief and loss as I am the grief and loss, and give it a voice from the I am the grief and loss. And if any feelings come up, just be aware of where they are in your body. Acknowledge, notice them. You can even take a breath. Notice any judgments or any thoughts or any urges. And then gently, really gently, just move your awareness back onto the drawing. And back onto writing from the I am the loss and grief. And I wrote, here's my, it's really interesting, here's my loss and grief. It's just on my flowers. And then when you're ready, oops. Just let me know when you're done. Oh, great, Alexandra. I'm so glad that you were able to catch up. Perfect. Okay, done. Steph's done. Okay. Just giving another moment for that. Hi, Nina. Hey, Janine. Okay. Now I want you to write about who takes care of the rosebush. Wonder how they take care of you. And you can write, I am, or you can just write, who takes care of you. Like for me, this is who took care of me. And I wrote, so you go ahead and start writing. I am the caretaker. I have a watering can. It is too small, but it does the job. I have to go up and down the hill, but sometimes I'm tired and I don't think I water it enough. I feel guilty about that. Yeah. And then when you're done, just writing, tapping in done into the chat. Great. Thanks, Julie. Right, just a couple of moments. Okay. So what I want you to do next is there anything, I want you to look at your rosebush, your picture. Is there anything you don't like about being a rosebush? What is it that you don't like about being a rosebush? What is it? And you can pop that in the chat. What is it that you don't like about being a rosebush? And then, yeah, I wrote that too. What do you most like about being a rosebush? What do you most like about being a rosebush? And you can share a couple of those things. Oh, I love that, Amy. Yeah, you don't like parasites and bugs. Absolutely. And is there anything that you need or want as a rosebush or as the rosebush? Is there anything you need and want as a rosebush? I don't like thorns and being thirsty. Yeah, I like being admired just for being myself. Yeah, I like that I'm part of nature. Lovely. Okay. And then add, is there anything that you need and want as the rosebush? When it rains, the petals fall. Like when it blooms, it really is lovely. I like the flowers and the smell of them. Yeah. Good. And then, is there anything that you would need, and you want as a rose bush? I want bloom well planted, bees and butterflies, yum, yeah, etc. Okay. More regular watering and bees. Okay. Just going to move forward. So, is there anything you need and want as your grief? Does your grief need anything? Does it want anything? So my grief needed to go into the flowers and the ground, not to be separate, to be invited in. Jane loves fragrance to myself and others. Bring fragrance and fragrance to myself and others, and to be acknowledged, heard, seen, and validated. Yeah. Grief's really true, right? Roses need liquid soap to keep clean and keep bugs away. Oh, didn't know that. Okay, and is there something that I've not asked that you need to know about the rose bush and the grief? Okay, and the grief. So is there anything that I've not asked that you need to know about? Be admired as creatures of beauty that we really are. We are worthy. Patch. Nice. Okay. Roses are beautiful. How to transform. Yeah. Okay. So we're just gonna, does anyone need, we're just gonna give 1 more minute on this. Just adding anything that you need to know. So I had the question, why don't I have others around? I needed to know that. I needed to know why I don't have any other roses. Or, yeah. And that was insightful for me to ask. Okay, good question. How to move from grief to this place of beauty. Yeah. Okay. So if I was to ask you if there was one part of the picture, just one part, women, that is more like you, what would it be? Okay, what would it be? Pop it into the chat. If I was to ask you if there was one part of the picture that is more like you, what would it be? I had a very interesting answer to this. I might share that with you later. Okay, what part of the rose bush is more like you? What would it be? Thank you. Yeah, Amy, beauty, but stands alone, protected by nature's elements. Okay, thank you. Resilience and ability to grow through limited nourishment. Yeah, amazing. Okay, would anyone else like to share? Okay, want inner calm, inner outer beauty that shines through. Yeah, lovely, Jane. Yeah, it's clear, isn't it? Strength of the stems and the bloom. Yeah, you can see that, Sarah. Thank you. Okay. We're not going to have time for you to read it back to yourselves, but know that you can do that. And then ask, like, were there any other parts of the plant, the rose bush and the picture, that were like you, that fit for you and your life now? You know, is there anything? Have a look. Is there anything in the writing that sort of relates to your life now, that fits for you now? And it's really, I will share this while you're doing that little bit of writing and reflection. I wrote the rose bush. I related to the rose bush. The flowers try and be pretty and smell really good. And actually, just embarrassed, I can get really caught up with how I look. And that was quite humbling. Yeah. Okay. So what is it? I'm a butterfly beside the biggest bloom. Lovely. Steph. Okay, I am the butterfly beside the biggest bloom. So take a moment to reflect, breathe, take a couple of breaths, noticing where you're sitting, whether you're sitting with your cross-legged or feet up on the sofa, or notice where your feet are. The stems stay, but the other parts come and go. Okay. So I want you to write down some reflections about this process. What did you learn? What surprised you? And if you could change anything or add anything to your picture, what would it be? So just take a couple of minutes just to connect to. Is there anything that surprised you? I definitely was surprised when I did this. And is there anything that you would change? And what would it be? Yeah, okay, I know. Yeah. Surprised how clear the image was, particularly as it was changing as a narrative in my mind. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Oh, Alexandra, surprised how balanced roots and stem and roses were. Okay. Thank you. And I invite you, if there's anything that you feel like you need to change, I'll invite you to do that now. Yeah, certainly have, Cindy. So one of the things I love about art is that we can change things, right? We can, we can change things as we become aware of the internal landscape. We can see what the internal landscape is. We can change it. So here's the flowers, the image, and what I notice is this little this little water can was, like, first of all, too small, and I was getting tired. I'm sometimes I can get really tired to nurture myself. And so what I did was, I'm going to give myself a sprinkler system. my immediate thing, this is how amazing our heads is. Well, how am I going to put a sprinkler on top of a hill? And I'm like, but this is art. Of course I can put a sprinkler on top of a hill. So here's my sprinkler. And I actually added more grass that was light and green, and that felt really good. And then I added some little new rose plants, rose bushes. And that felt really good. So pop in what if there's anything you'd like to change. And if there's not, then that's okay. Just know there's nothing to change. Surprised that I could actually draw. I love that, Kathy. Yeah. We're drawing for our life, right? We're drawing for connection, not for others. Drawing for deep connection within ourselves. And then, I would actually, if I needed to and wanted to, I could connect that. I could talk about that with my partner. I can talk about that with my my counselor, my therapist. I can talk to others about it, and others can, in my programs, talk to others about their what's going on for them. So what do you know now that you didn't know before? Okay. What did you know now that you didn't know before? Okay. So I'm just going to bypass that. Yay, Cindy, I love that. Sprouts of trees around me, more sprouts of trees around me, rain and sunshine strengthening my trunk. Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of change, as we know, I had to switch back to everyone. Since I switched to my, for some reason it's a bit, yeah, I know, I had the same, had it on mine as well. So okay, so please don't underestimate this life experience. Honestly, it's huge. It's mind-blowing and powerful at times, and it can be overwhelming. The arts can simplify, bring metaphor. They can be that bridge. Oops. We need compassion and patience, loving ways to self-soothe, express and find new ways, or our way. We need to find our way through towards transformation, healing, recreation of ourselves and our lives. We're moving from one place to another, and we can't expect to just go there, right? It's a process. Art and creativity are powerful and healing and nurturing ways of expression and doing all of the above, including giving women, excuse me, I've got myself involved, giving words that we don't necessarily have. And that's been a really big part of my healing, to find those words. And people can get internally stuck in this journey, but art can help gently unblock, gently unblock, and the body can actually help gently unblock. And we can start connecting to our creativity by just a very simple line, just connecting that our pencils and pens, and letting go of having to be perfect, having to deliver to someone. We can find a way to just find our words and our marks just for ourselves and to connect to one other person. All it takes. So as we connect to one, and then we can connect to many. So I know I spoke very briefly, someone asked about, how do we do this on our own? And I've written a step-by-step guide of how to get started using the healing arts. And it includes materials and questions to ask yourself and your images, a little meditation to get started, understanding the dual process model, and much, much more. And I will pop that into the chat at the end. I'm aware that there's, okay, so I've got a little bit of time, so I will answer any questions at the end. There'll be about, I think we've got some time, Steph, at the end, don't we? So I want to talk to you very briefly about Grieve with Gusto, which is my next program, which we do a lot more work, more creative work. We create these amazing books like this, and with lots and lots of art and creativity and processes inside. And I'm sort of, my heart is like, it is that bridge, it creates that bridge from the old into the new, and allowing for both sides to be processed. So it's to help you face your grief as it were a friend. I'm really hoping that we stop hiding from our grief permanently, but we don't get stuck in our grief. We allow grief the space to breathe, and as someone said today so eloquently, to be heard and to be seen, because that really is all we need. And then, then we can go, like we've been heard, and we can let it go. We use it to live in a healed, life, one that includes joy and inspiration, and really, think about color, and then we find our way forward. So here's some of the books. It's a time for release and to step into your own truth, no one else's truth, to own your courage, your courageous grief journey, and to move forward. To open the door to a new life, learning a new way to grieve with support and comfort, stepping into joy, peace in your life today. So I'm gonna pop in, how am I gonna do this? Stop sharing. Here we go. So I get to see your beautiful faces. So I wanted to just pop in the link to my free grip gift. There we go. And also, I wanted to pop in, if you want to know any more about Grieve with Gusto, how to get on with it, how to connect with it, is here. So that's all there. And if you have any questions, how was that process? I'd love to know, how was that process for you? You're learning about it. And the other thing I'd love to know is that place where, as I'm thinking, what little risk and action or change do you want to have, that you need to have? Because for me, it's about bringing more watering into my life. So that could be, for me, it's like, I need to drink more. I really, really do need to drink more. And I need to, how do I bring more other rose bushes into my life? So I'm working on doing that. Okay. Oh, I love I'm just reading your messages. Speaking of change, okay. I'm beautiful, necessary, and supported by the earth, nature. I have all I need. Oh, what beautiful affirmation, Amy. Thank you. And this drawing shows elements and phase of life. Yeah, yes, it does. Lovely, thank you. Oh, yes. Wonderful. I'm really pleased that you're feeling connected. So Jane's feeling connected, feels so much more connected today in this way, just by being part of the collective chat with everyone. Yep. I've added an easel. Yay, Sarah, I love that. Okay. That was absolutely amazing. Would you consider doing Zoom sessions or YouTube sessions? What do you mean? What do you mean, Claire, by that? YouTube. All my work is either face-to-face or online, and so and it's through Zoom. Okay, cool. I think, Steph, I don't know if you want to pop in if you have any questions and share how that was for you. I don't know if you're still there. No. There we go.
Of course,
Are you still awake?
Of course I'm still here. I'm always lurking in the background when you're doing your artwork, you know that. No, that was brilliant. Thank you so much, Helen. Do you know what I mean? It's a different way of looking at art. Again, I've done obviously a few different sessions with you, so I think every type of exercise helps. And I always say to people, don't I, ugly art is just as good as pretty art. All art is wonderful.
Ugly art.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what it looks like to you, it's how you interpret it and what it means, not what it looks like. So,
and it's a beautiful way to bring metaphor, you know, to bring things out of our body, out of our unconscious, that bridge where we can get so stuck, you know. And actually ugly art, in fact, I have a beautiful drawing of someone else's rose bush. Let's see, I don't know if I can find it. And I was just like, oh, here we go. Look, this is someone else's.
Yeah.
And it's just so expressive. I mean, it's in black and white. It was actually in color. But it's just like, you know, if we let go of the judgment, if we just let go of judging 100%. Ourselves, judging our art, then we can stop judging ourselves, and then we can go, oh, we actually belong in life. We, you know, we can just be part of the universe and part of being. And sometimes we can be really scared, you know, we're scared. I mean, I can be really scared of connection. So
it's being in the moment again, isn't it? And just embracing it for whatever it is.
Absolutely.
And with art, the best thing is you can just chuck it away in the bin if you really don't want to keep it. It doesn't have to be around. You can draw on top of it. You can do all sorts with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and even honouring, you know, my one of my mentors, Michelle Casso, I think also Chris Seidel, who's they're intuitive painters and teachers, painting teachers, and they talk about actually not crossing stuff out, because it's like we're crossing ourselves out, that part of ourselves, and we need to acknowledge all parts of ourselves, you know, the thorny parts, the straggly parts, you know, the big blooming parts that, you know, can be too heavy, and acknowledging all of it. So
definitely it's good that you addressed every section of the plant and of the picture, of the drawing, whatever you call it, rather than just looking at one bit and focusing on that, because that's what we too often do. We get focused on one thing in our life, that we haven't got a kid, that we're not mums, and everything else gets wiped out, when sometimes there's more going on if we actually look at the bigger picture. And
I think that Steph, that was really like touched me, because that was my intention, because we can get, and I can get really caught up, you know, grief. Actually it's grief, but also ourselves, right? You know, as the rose bush, or, you know, the person drawing, we're not just grief, we're not just childless, but we've suffered a loss, and we are learning to be more than that. Sometimes we're not more than that, but we are more than that. We can get lost in it, can't we? And it's that's fine parting it, isn't it?
It's fine.
You've been lost, I've been lost in it.
Well, no, that's what it's about embracing and accepting, and sometimes delving straight into that grief and just sitting in it and not giving a shit about anything else, excuse the French, but that's the way to say it, is you don't worry about if everything's black around you, because if that's what you need in that moment in time, do with it. But sometimes you can reach outside, and by doing art, it frees your mind to go outside and see the other things there. And they might all be dark, but there might be a little bit of colour, and that little bit of colour might be that one bit of lift that you need.
Exactly. And sometimes when we go into those shadowy places, those dark places, you know, Sarah's online, that we need someone to hold the hope, to hold the little flashlight, you know, the little candle, you know, to go, okay, but, you know, like, keep walking towards the light. And I suppose that, you know, that's what you do, that's what Sarah does, that's what I hope I do, you know, Jodie, all of us out there doing this work. It's like that we've all been lost. So I'm going to speak, we've all been lost.
Yeah,
we've all been lost in the darkness. I've been lost in the darkness, and it's part of it.
Yeah, those triggers still can come back, and the whole point is we call them triggers because we don't know when they're going to turn up, if they do turn up. But when they do, there's people around us that can help, and it's just looking for the people connected to them.
Exactly.
Sometimes connect them when you're feeling in a good spot, and just leave them there in the background if it's a support group. So if you think, I don't need that anymore, just leave it there, sitting there, hid there, because if you do need it, you can go and join in and have a little rant.
Exactly. And I think that's what I love.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steph, go on.
No, it's all right. No, I was just saying, or you know, you have a rant, or you just say, send me a hug.
Yeah, that's what I love about your communities. You know, that's what I suppose, especially about those communities where people can really vent. You know, and also it's like, you know, I suppose my smash books, which we create on the workshops we do, that it's one of those things that we can just close the book, you know, like, you know, it's sometimes we go to counselling, it's like we just leave our mess in the counselling room. We just need to leave them. I don't know if you feel that stuff. We just need to leave the mess there and walk away and into something else, you know. And I suppose that's where, you know, I've got lots of messy pages, and we can just trying to find the dark page, you know, that like saying goodbye, and then we can shut it, like, I'm gonna put it away, get on with my life, and then when I'm wanting to pick it up, and I can put it down again, and sometimes we need to put it in a box, don't we? Because we need to get on with other lives, but sometimes we don't have that distraction, and then we can get a bit, it's hard. So
but
yes, it's having hope. There is life after, because I wondered, what is the point of my life? What do I do for the rest of my life? Even
we're going to get different answers, aren't we? We're all going to get different answers depending on how we adapt, cope, accept, resolve, or just live with our childlessness. But it's finding anything and everything that helps, and what helps this year might not help next year, and it's having that flexibility to know there are different options of going in a group, listening to a podcast, reading a blog or a book, or just doing it in a piece of art, like you say, and then burning it, and chucking it away, doing whatever you need to do, doing a journal. It's finding the one thing or 10 things that help at that moment in time until the next moment in time. But and I hate
there's a lovely Yasmin Boland does some lovely work around, but she does talk about her son a lot, right? So just be warned. But you know, just even that beautiful, she works with the moon, and you know, every month I know when the full moon is. I don't know if you know, like, do you know, like, that energy like ramps up just before the full moon, and we do like a letting go process of just writing down everything we want to let go and forgive, and forgive, and then I burn it and throw it out the window, all the ashes out the window, and I see it sort of going and it's so clearing. So try that just before and then, you know, the new moon is bringing in new hope and new dreams.
Yeah.
And you know, that place, oh, just by the way, I live in Wallington, so I live near South London, Surrey. So I don't know where you are, but that's where I am, and I see one-to-one clients. So still trying to make sense of my life. Yeah, find meaning, making, and purpose after all this time. Yeah. And I think, you know, one of my biggest shames, and I wasn't able, and I was doing workshops, and I wasn't able to share it, was I didn't know what I was wanting, you know. I don't know, things just felt a mess. Like, what was my meaning? What, things weren't fitting. And I think it just, as we walk this journey to find meaning, we start finding meaning. We can't find, in my journey, I couldn't find meaning by sitting there going, I need to find meaning. I need to find meaning. What's my meaning? I needed to say, I'm going to find meaning, and then just take little steps to find meaning. I don't know, there's a slight mindset shift.
Yeah.
And it's in the trying to find meaning and looking at what makes me feel good and taking risks that I've started to feel embody that my life's got meaning.
Yeah.
So be really gentle, Jane, because it's part of the process.
It is.
And it's hard because we're all in our 40s, 50s, 60s, where there's a should of we should know. But yeah, throw that out.
Yeah, throw all the ideas and what
out
the window and just do your own thing. Sod everyone else, do your own thing. That's what you can do, and you'll find your way eventually, somehow. No promises when or how, but somehow it'll happen. And I hate to do this because I know we could carry on talking. We probably will afterwards, but I best stop this recording so that people come in afterwards can watch it, and that, which is really good. So thank you, Helen, for doing this. It's been brilliant as always. I've loved it. It's been great chatting. It's going mad again now, people saying thank you. But yes, so thank you once again. But for now, we'll sign off until the next time we meet and do some more of your artwork.
Yay. Bye, everyone. You know where I am. Thank you, Steph.